All right, so I really don't know what I'm doing here. I'm not good with computers at all, but I decided to try to see if I could go live. Uh, yeah, given time of day, I don't know if anyone's going to pop on here or not. I don't know how to see if anyone's. Oh, wait, maybe that tells me if someone's viewing? Okay, and now they're not, I think. So, Andrew said that one thing that he did with this channel that he found helpful was when he didn't know what to do, he would just go live and talk things through, and he found that was one thing helpful. So, I decided to give it a try right now. I'm not intending to leave this up, this is just a little experiment. I also don't know how this works. I just tried to figure it out on my own, and I'm very shitty with computers. But yeah, I think that's telling me there are 3 people watching. If anyone is watching and wants to comment, I think I will see it there. Yeah, now and everyone's just bailing out. So I'm Mercury. I guess you're surprised why Andrew's not here. I've taken over the channel with Ryan Hallsapple, and it's late at night. I'm was thinking about what happened today with our first attempt to post a video, and it might be stupid to be coming on live in the state I'm in. Yeah, for those of you who I have no idea who's watching, I'm bipolar, and I'm fairly depressed in the moment. And because of that, I expect I'm not thinking clearly about what happened today with our first couple posts. And so I thought I would just try coming online and seeing if anyone who had seen our first attempts at the video saw what happened. So me and Ryan tried a little video, and he worked really hard editing it. And he put in some clips to try to make it funny, and it got a very bad reaction. And I felt really, really bad for Ryan because he worked so hard on it. I thought he did a great job, and the clips were funny, but there was a bad reaction, and it hurt his feelings and mine enough that he decided to just pull it down, take out the clips, and put it up straight. Okay, great. Someone's saying best of luck to you. So thanks a lot. I really appreciate the support. Weird. I just spontaneously thought to come online. So is there anyone here who saw the video we posted earlier, either one of them? Okay, so either nobody feels like talking yet, or nobody here saw them. So we got some bad feedback about part of it, and Ryan re-edited it. And yeah, fuck, I have no idea who's watching. So are you guys people who had been following Andrew? Or are you guys just people randomly coming on to a live stream just because you're bored and curious? Wow, yeah, I did not think at all much before coming on to try this out, but hey, it looks like 4 people like this stupid rambling. So, fuck yeah, my idea was to come on and just ask what you guys thought of how it went, and I'm just very open-minded for advice as to what to do with the channel. I don't have a particular vision. I just want to try to figure out what we can do to give someone something useful. I took over the channel not because I wanted to be a YouTuber, but because Andrew and a few of his subscribers had asked to hear more from me, to start my own channel, or to have opportunities to talk to me. And when Andrew stopped his channel, he asked me to take it over with Ryan. And I'm really only doing this if it's something good. There's not something I'm aiming to get out of this. I've fucked up enough things in life, and my whole reason for doing the channel is that it does some good in the world in some way. So a couple of people are watching, and it's late at night, and I'm burned out. I'm bipolar, and I go through a yearly cycle. So my mania starts in the spring, and I'm sort of manic all through the summer. In the fall, it drops off, and in the winter, I'm just dead in the winter. It's an extreme depression. This timing of Andrew handing over the channel isn't ideal for me. It's still the end of winter. I'm quite depressed, energy. There's been some other things going on in my life that have been difficult, and so I wasn't feeling overly ready to take over the channel. But it was just the timing of it. Also, I think Ryan, the guy that I'm taking over the channel with, anything that was within my ability and nature to do to help him out, I'm interested in doing. He's a young guy. He's full of ambition and energy. I think he's got a great future, and he does seem very much oriented towards trying to do good in the world. So aside from him working on this channel with me, on the other channel he has, but aside from YouTube, he's also interested in helping with life coaching. He's taking serious studies, and I see a real bright future for him. And his real goal is to make a positive difference in the world. So if me doing this channel with him in any way helps set him up to do more good in the world, that's a good reason for me to do this. But also, ultimately, I don't have some grand vision that I want to spread to the world. I'm not going to be false or fake or try to be something I'm not for the sake of the audience. But there's different parts of me, and whatever it is that I can do that people are interested in, that does some good, I'm interested in sharing. But I'm also not interested in pursuing anything that isn't helpful to anybody. So if any of you people who are watching want to go back and look, Ryan took down the first video we did, re-edited it, and put it back up. But I was wondering if I could get any advice as to how we should have handled that criticism. Should Ryan have taken that video down at all? I always need to be really self-aware of what state I'm in and how my emotions affect my thoughts. And I'd really like to do the right thing by Ryan here, because it hurt his feelings a lot, and I want to help him through this first video. And I still think there's a lot of potential for the channel, but I'm just sort of genuinely not sure what to do. I'm overstressed, overtired, and depressed at the moment. So I got one nice comment from someone, and there's still 10 people watching. So I'm not getting any feedback. So maybe nobody watching saw any of that shit. Okay, so people need to learn to improve their neurochemistry. Yeah, Alpha Ghost, that would be great. And Robert, have I watched Peterson's classes on YouTube, especially Maps of Meaning? Okay, yeah, so I came across Peterson. I'm bad with time. I think I subscribed to his channel when he was at about 400,000. I watched a couple of his Maps of Meanings, like he had more than one. I watched his Introduction to Personality or whatever it was. I've read 12 Rules for Life, and my wife just got me Maps of Meaning for Christmas. I've sort of skimmed through it a bit, but I haven't read it yet. Weekdays. Okay, so Alpha Ghost, yes, taking the right vitamins. So that's something that, I totally agree with you. There's that whole health element of it. I'm not an expert on any of that shit whatsoever. I'm not sure what weekdays going on, man means. Okay, have I done anything else on YouTube? Um, well, I appeared on Andrew's channel a few times. Okay, so the way I ended up taking over this channel is back when Andrew was doing the channel, I subscribed to his channel just to sort of support him. And honestly, at first, didn't watch him all that often because all of his stuff about diet and exercise were not things I was interested in. But I liked the stuff he was posting about Peterson. And as I followed him along, um, well, so yeah, I'm bipolar, and I have an angel I speak to. Um, the angel advised I reach out to Andrew at one point when he referenced magic, and said that I would be able to help him in some way. And even though I've been a hermit for a long time, I'm very cut off from the world. At the point that I reached out to Andrew, I wasn't talking to anyone at online at all. Almost never commented on videos, but I reached out to him, and he ended up calling me. I thought, maybe I'd have one or two talks with him about um, magic and Jordan Peterson's teachings and how they interrelate. And I didn't think it would necessarily lead to much, but I thought if I could give him a little bit of helpful advice, it could go a long way in helping a lot of other people because he was out on YouTube. And it ended up that me and Andrew just became friends. He really found it helpful talking to me. Me and him really opened up to each other, like just talked about very personal stuff. And I was talking to him about his issues in life in general, but also the channel for quite a while. After a while, Andrew wanted me to come on and like have a conversation with him on the channel. I think I did 3 podcasts with him, and overall they were quite well received. In the comments, Ryan Holsapple, who has the Soul Tree Project, commented that he'd love to have me on his podcast. And so from doing Andrew's, I ended up doing a couple with Ryan as well. And then me, Andrew, and Ryan all did a couple, the 3 of us on his channel. So I got involved just sort of trying to help out these 2 friends. And even over the past, year that I've appeared occasionally on their channels, I'm not active in social media. Like the only 2 people I message or Skype with regularly are Andrew and Ryan. And so from there, Andrew ended up feeling that I was the person he wanted to take over his channel when he left. And so that's how I got into this. So no, I have no YouTube experience beyond that. I barely know how to use a fucking computer. I'm a real hermit, outcast, off living in my own world, very detached. And for me, this is a big step in reconnecting to the world. Yeah, so that I think answered that. Let's see what else people are commenting. Okay, so look into microdosing with mushrooms. Somebody's saying, yeah, I've got a friend who is doing that. Like a friend who's also lunatic, not as bad as me. He found microdosing really helpful. I'm skeptical about that because during my first total psychotic break, I took a lot of mushrooms, and I loved mushrooms when I was in college, and it wasn't using them wisely and like for self-discovery. I was using them recreationally, but my ability to connect to alternate states of mind are such that I'm very nervous about experimenting with even microdoses for hallucinogenics at the moment. It's just I can achieve a state like being on mushrooms without them, first of all. And yeah, just a bit of fasting and in my manic period. And there's a few things I can do. I can induce a mushroom-like state without taking mushrooms at all. But I might be open-minded in the future to the microdosing. Someone just said for depression and addiction. Are you saying that you're looking for advice for depression and addiction, or you're just saying those are things I have? Yeah, like I go through a yearly cycle where I'm depressed for the winter. I'm bipolar type 1, and I'm fairly extreme. It's a 1-year cycle. As far as addiction, I'm addicted to cigarettes and coffee. I smoke weed, but I not quite. I'm more microdose with weed. I don't get really high. Too much weed isn't good for me, but none at all isn't good for me either. So I medicate with caffeine and marijuana, and I'm addicted to cigarettes. That's my addiction, and I don't give a fuck about that. This cigarettes help me get by. What did you get from 12 Rules? Never read it myself. Okay, so some of the criticism of 12 Rules, that it's sort of common sense advice, like, is somewhat justified, except like Peterson knew it was common sense, and he gives deeper reasoning for it. One thing I love about Peterson from the beginning, and I don't think he talks about it enough, is Rule 8. Tell the truth, or at least don't lie. And that's not something I learned from Peterson. Okay, and so one of the ways I came to what I know is that I went through two extreme. I first became bipolar in 2006, and at first it was an extreme 3-year cycle that built up to intense mania, where I was institutionalized against my will and had to be brought down on heavy drugs. Second cycle, then 2 years of depression, then another total psychotic break. It took 9 years building. I almost killed myself just from not sleeping and eating, and just was completely in another world. Horrific experiences, repeatedly being locked up. After that, the government decided to put me on permanent disability, and basically the goal set by all my psychiatrists, just the universal opinion after my second cycle was, we're going to stop trying any therapy to get you back to like normal functioning or getting a job. Your condition's so extreme, you just need to maintain as low stress as possible and just try to deal with being bipolar. And so honestly, my initial goals that I didn't know I would be able to keep up with were, when I'm suicidal, don't kill myself. And I really barely survived my second depression in 2009 to 2011. That was 18 months of intense suicidal depression, and I barely made it through that. After I came out of that, the goal was just not to get locked up again. And so I went into isolation. I lived in a small farmhouse, not too far from my parents' farmhouse. And I had no phone, I had no internet, I had no car. I didn't tell any of my friends where I was moving. I told my siblings I needed to be left alone. And I spent 2 years where my parents just dropped off groceries once a week. And so the longest I ever went without ever seeing anyone at all was about 2 weeks. But for me, a solid year, I was spending 99.9% of my time alone. I was just having groceries dropped off once a week. My parents would just make sure I was okay. And I had no cell phone, no internet. I was just completely on my own. And after I came out of that 2-year depression, I finally accepted I was bipolar and tried to deal with it, but I was terrified about the next manic cycle and putting me back into a mental institution. And that first manic episode out, it was scary. It was difficult to deal with. But I got through it, and I found that from that point forward, instead of having a 3-year cycle, I got a 1-year cycle where I'm up through the spring, summer, and then down during the winter. And a shorter 1-year cycle is more controllable. But the first couple ones were very scary. The depressions were difficult. And when I entered the manias, There were times I didn't know I wouldn't lose total control and end up back in the mental institution. But I managed to do better every year, and I haven't been institutionalized since 2009. But I completely cut myself off from the world. Then gradually, after a couple years, I got internet and cell phone. I let people visit me occasionally, but still never left the house except doctor's appointments or the occasional thing. Although not housebound. Like I live in the country, so when I say I don't leave my house, it means I don't leave my house and the private wilderness around it. But from there, I gradually, well, I sort of made a deal with the universe at one point, and I was content to live out the rest of my life as a hermit. I found that there's a value to the guru going off, or not the guru, just anyone going off into isolation to try to improve themselves. I saw a value in that. And I fully expected at one point to live out the rest of my life that way. But I made a deal with the universe that if the world wanted anything from me, it would approach me and ask. But that other than that, I would keep to myself. That led to me interacting a bit more online. I ended up meeting a woman, marrying her. So I'm now married and have kids, although we maintain separate houses. Like tonight, all my kids and my wife are here at my house, all sleeping here. But I still need significant time alone. I don't know why I got rambling about all that. Maybe just to give you some... so it's my massive amount of time alone that brought me to a lot of my beliefs and understandings. And I found that when I started watching Peterson, or Something Sam Harris Says, they had these brilliant articulations for things that I'd found myself. And my psychotic delusions, one odd thing about them was, despite all the other craziness and extreme revelation, end of the world shit, angels and demons, both of my psychotic delusions involved the idea that felt like it was coming from God, that truth is just this absolute highest morality, this magical thing. And I found that was one thing that from my delusions I learned. And when I went into isolation, I practiced honesty, which is easier in isolation because it's hard enough to be honest with yourself. And I took like just a psychotically strong dedication to honesty. I didn't do it well at first, but I've been working on that for over a decade now, I guess. And it is just, you can't say enough about how important honesty is. And so Rule 8, Peterson says some brilliant shit. Like he doesn't even get to 1/10 of the reasons why honesty is so important. But I really love that fucking rule. I found that incredibly useful. And yeah, I've let a bunch of stuff scroll by while I rambled. Sorry about that. It's late at night. I've taken sleeping pills to try to calm down. You said an angel's advice. Yes, I have an archangel that I interact with. Listen, I have a rational part of me. I have a part of me that thinks like Sam Harris and considers that angel is most likely a delusion. I also have a part of me that believes wholeheartedly that angel is real. And I try to balance the two. But in some sense, the angel's real. Whether it's a component of my psychology or whether there's anything else behind it, I have an angel. And I try to keep perspective on it and view it from both ways. But yeah, I take a lot of advice from my archangel. Oh, okay. So it's really late at night. I'm streaming in the dark. Someone's saying I should do it in the light. Yeah, the reason I've actually got it so dark is I'm nocturnal. Like I wake up in the summer much earlier, winter much later, but My natural body clock is nocturnal, and I need to get as much sleep as I can, being bipolar, and some reason I'm wired differently. So I stay up all night by myself, and the dark is where I'm most comfortable. My eyes are sensitive to light, and the reason I didn't do better lighting is just I feel more comfortable and secure in the dark. This is my safe space, is sitting on my couch in the dark late at night with my family sleeping peacefully, and I'm alone with. Let's see. Much of the channel's success can be attributed to his willingness to open up and be vulnerable. To what degree will you both replicate this? Okay, I won't speak for Ryan there. For me, when it comes to what it's like to be bipolar, when it comes to my internal experiences, I'm willing to be completely open. I think I don't want to talk about any sex stuff. I don't want to talk too much about my family or friends or other people. Like, I don't want to expose other people's personal info. But when it comes to, and yeah, I want to keep certain projects, parts of my life private. But when it comes to what it's like to be me, the internal experiences, the psychological phenomena, if we want to get into issues of God and stuff, Peterson recently described that one of the reasons he doesn't like answering the God question is that it's too intensely personal. And I would agree with him on that. It's intensely personal and shouldn't be discussed as casually as it is. But I'm willing to open up about all of that stuff. I'm willing to talk about what it's like to be me. Okay, Alpha Ghost, don't touch mushrooms. Absolutely not. Okay. Yeah, I've had 2 intense, totally psychotic breaks. And then since then, it's, I guess I get mildly psychotic states, although at first, like, I just tried to put the brakes on the mania as much as I could. And the first time my archangel showed up, I was really worried that I was a couple months away from losing total control. But I decided to try to look at it both ways, like a delusion and like it's real, and figure out how to interact with it. And the relationship I've developed with my archangel has been fantastic. So whether it's a component of my psyche or something else, it's never given me bad advice. It doesn't tell me to do bad shit. It just always wants me to be honest and do the right thing. So it's been a lovely guide, whether it's imaginary friend or whether it's in any way conscious. And I don't want to get too much into personal details about a lot of my life now, but if people want to hear extended stories later about what happened to me in 2006, 2009, what it's like to be in a mental institution, what it's like to experience the end of the world, I'm happy to open up about that kind of shit. Okay, so what effect does weed have on you? So since I've been bipolar, okay, so first of all, I want to say I did smoke a lot of weed before I became bipolar. So I didn't become bipolar until I was 27. Yeah, you know the age a lot of artists die. Instead of dying, I went mad that year. I did smoke a lot of pot for years before that. Although in the period building up to my first psychotic break, I had been smoking much less pot than usual because I didn't have much cash. And I was working as a security guard, doing the night shift, and I was crossing the street late at night, and a bus ran a red light coming around a blind corner, and I got hit by a bus. That's what launched me into my first intense psychotic break. And since then, I've quit weed a few times for over a year, like twice. And I find if I quit weed, my depression's that much worse. The anxiety's out of control. I can't deal with, I could go total hermit on just cigarettes and coffee. But if I need to be able to interact with people, I have to smoke weed on a regular basis. It helps calm my anxiety. In low levels, it helps manage, it helps smooth off the edges of the mania. And in the depression, it helps pick up my mood a bit. But I'm very careful. Too much is not good for me. But the right amount, smoking on a regular basis, lighter doses, not getting super high, helps keep me more level, helps me interact with people more, lowers my social anxiety. Oh, and when it comes to my same thing for coffee. The right amount is good for me. Too much is too much. Like when I went through my second psychotic break that built up for 9 months, at the end, for the last month, like I wasn't eating anymore. I was sleeping like a couple minutes every other night, and it just kept getting worse. But like I was drinking, I would make my coffee. I would just make a pot of coffee, pour milk and sugar into the pot, and walk around drinking a pot of coffee over like an hour. And at the end, it's like I hadn't slept for over 3 days at all after months of barely sleeping. Wasn't eating at all, but just was walking around drinking pot after pot of coffee and smoking like just an ounce of weed a day. It just fucking, and yeah, I went into another dimension, experienced the end of the world. But for me, coffee at the right level helps me when I'm depressed. When I'm getting more manic, I still drink coffee, but I cut back on it. And so for me, the coffee and the marijuana, too much of it fucks me up. Not enough of it fucks me up. And then when it comes to cigarettes, I'm happy with this addiction for the rest of my life. I've seen some studies that showed some schizophrenics and bipolar actually benefit from chain smoking. And it's like, compared to lithium, the damage that will do to you over your life, which I'm not on that. If cigarettes gets me through this, the side effects of this are no worse than lithium, which is what doctors were talking about putting me on for the rest of my life. Okay, so I seem to have. Can I help in any way? Oh, wait, yeah. Some of this is going fast. Wait, can I scroll back up? I just don't know how to do this shit. Okay, someone's saying they're on methadone. So does that mean you're like getting yourself off harder drugs? Okay, someone's asking it's Archangel Saint Michael. No, he's not my primary archangel, but he's sort of my secondary one. I was raised Catholic and always felt fond of Archangel Michael. Uh, I prayed to him a lot as a kid. He's a big part of my spiritual and magical life, but no, he's not my primary guide. Antidepressants help fight. Okay. I've been on a number of antidepressants. I've been on antipsychotics and mood stabilizers. I always got more side effects than anything. I was on mood stabilizers for about 5 years, but at the moment, I'm off any of that shit. So, like, I'm self medicating. Oh, I have a prescription for a sleeping pill that I don't take regularly, but when I need more sleep, I still fill that prescription. But I found when I finally went off my mood stabilizers 2 years ago, I actually continued to improve. And I didn't do it on my own. I told my psychiatrist I was going to. He advised against it. I just said, listen, I'm going to, and got his advice on how to level off. So I leveled off properly, but and I don't judge people using psychiatric drugs. As far as I'm concerned, if you have psychiatric medication that helps you, like, use it. And if you are opposed to psychiatric medications or they don't work well for you, Don't use them. Find something else. I'm non-judgmental about what other people take. Okay, so you're a lot like me in a lot of ways. Let's connect somehow and message regularly. I don't know how much social interaction I can handle. Um, like, I really live in my own world. I don't leave my house often at all. I still get all my groceries delivered. My first step of opening up to the world was letting a few people come inside my bubble. Then I opened up a bit by just reaching out to Andrew and Ryan. But that was the extent of what I could handle up to that point. So I'm experimenting now with the channel, but I'm not sure how I'll be able to handle the stress of it. For the one thing, when I'm depressed, I'm just so thin-skinned. Any criticism, even like really polite criticism, can sometimes hurt me really deeply. So I don't know how good doing the channel is going to be for me when I'm depressed. And then alternately, when I get manic, I don't want to get too into the channel and too sucked into this digital dimension. So, yeah. So I would like just my heart reaction is, sure, I'd like to message with you regularly. I'm not sure I'm ready for that right now, but one thing we were planning on doing was having some conversations between me and some of the viewers. So if you want to send an email to the channel, it would be Ryan, not me, but message him with the request to talk to me. And if you're interested in having a chat on camera, possibly we could. Also, if you're going through significant things and you do want to arrange a private conversation with me that we don't film, I will make myself available to people as much as I can handle while still maintaining my own mental health and being sure I'm there enough for my wife and children as well. So definitely I want to talk to you. Let's figure out how we're going to do it. But start by, and even emailing people is a lot of stress for me. So when people are emailing the channel, it's going to be Ryan reading it. But if you want to talk to me, tell him why, he'll pass it on, and maybe we can set something up. And who knows, maybe that will grow to us messaging more often one day. But just stepping out like this at all is a big push for me, and I just don't want to jump into it too fast and get overwhelmed. Melatonin is what's needed to sleep. Yeah, Alpha Ghost, I take melatonin every night. Yeah, and I know you shouldn't take it every night. I used to take it now and then, but I've gotten to where I take melatonin every night, sometimes just 3 milligrams, sometimes 10. But I also occasionally, because when my mania starts kicking up, my body just wants to sleep less and less and less. And so if I've had a couple nights where even with melatonin, I'm only sleeping 5-6 hours and waking up full of energy, I'll take a heavy dose of the sleeping pills as well and make sure I get a good night's sleep every now and then. The one thing I've learned is I need to monitor my sleep. It's a good feedback on how I'm doing mentally. If I'm not sleeping enough, I'm just going to start cracking up. Am I religious? Have Bible knowledge or go to church? Okay, so I was raised Catholic and like very Catholic. I was an altar boy for a long time. I love Jesus. I don't know how I feel about various forms of Christianity, but I absolutely love Jesus. Since then, I've opened my mind to more traditions, looked into Taoism, looked into magic, looked into a number of things. So I consider myself very spiritual and perhaps religious, but I guess at this point I'm a heretic because I'm not following any one thing. And okay, So, one thing it seems to me is that initially, very early on in human history, religion must have developed from like the shaman, the visionaries, and some of it being drug related and some of it being insanity. Um, some older cultures would have taken a young person developing bipolar or schizophrenic and trained them as a shaman. And I find, I think I'm tapping into that. I'm trying to access the how is it that some people manage to connect to God and form their religious connection all on their own. So I'm kind of a cult of one, and I'm open to all kinds of spiritual teachings, but I'm doing it in the old fashioned way of learning it from the gods within us. And yeah, I think that's answers that briefly for now. And yeah, no, I don't go to church anymore, but I did for a long, long time. And yeah, just I don't leave my house. Tonight I went over to my parents for dinner. That's the first. I left my house one other time this month. Um, like I'll occasionally go over to my wife's house, over to my parents. I'll occasionally have to go out to sign something at a bank or see a psychiatrist or something. But other than that, I don't leave my house at all. I live in my own little world. So, Angel Lopez, can you help in any way? I don't know. I don't know who you are. Possibly you can help in some way. Um, if you're interested in sticking around with this channel, um, you could maybe come on sometime or you could be a support in the comments. Yeah, I'm always open minded to advice. Fuck, trolls and insults just cut me so deep. I have just such a naked, bleeding heart. But like friendly advice, I'm very open to. Okay, so Cody recently went through a sort of spiritual awakening himself. Yeah, if you want to tell me more about that, I'm very interested. Wait, I seem to be fucking up this. Oh, do I have creative aspirations? I played in bands when I was younger. I have some artistic skill. I trained as a tattoo artist, did a few decent ones. I used to volunteer for Trauma Films, and yeah, so I have creative potential, but I've always just been a waste of potential. I really don't have creative aspirations at the moment. Really, still, my main goal is never end up in a mental institute and don't kill myself. Other than that, I've kind of stopped giving up on getting attached to goals. I'm trying to live more in the Tao. Um, and rather than deciding what I'm going to do with my life, I'm open to the universe asking me what it wants from me. Um, I'm very much run by inner intuition, and I don't really have any aspirations. Like, I could be perfectly content to live out the rest of my life basically the way it is now. Um, I'm very fortunate to be in Canada where the government put me on disability, and that support means a lot to me. I'm really lucky to be in this situation. I can scrape by on what I'm scraping by on. Just dealing with bipolar and exploring the mysteries of the universe is a difficult enough task. I find it meaningful. And I do have a number of people in my life that I'm helping through problems. And it's not There's nothing grand about it, but I'm content to just do my small part of helping the people the universe sends my way. And I'm content with living out the rest of my life the way it is now. On the other hand, if it's going to change and I'm supposed to do more things, I'm open to it if I feel I'm able to. Do I interact with my archangel online? No. My archangel like speaks directly to me, is always with me. Sometimes he speaks to me from inside, and sometimes he's a presence I feel without. How does my angel manifest? The first time I met him or her, it's an angel that can be interpreted both ways. I felt an overwhelming presence, and just that shook reality. And an angel introduced itself, gave me its name, which I heard audibly. And usually my interactions with entities or the parts of my subconscious, I'll often refer to it as hearing them say this, but it's not audio hallucinations. It's like a thought is placed in my, it's almost like a crumpled up ball appears in my head of paper, and it unfolds and the whole message from the angel is on it. But very powerful experience first meeting them. In more sort of ritual states or more manic states, it's a felt presence. It alters the light in the room. It can sort of merge with me and talk to me from within. I don't think I've ever had a visual hallucination of my art. Oh, I suppose a little bit, yeah. What's up, my dude? I don't know, just rambling about a lot of shit on my mind late at night. Does my environment play a big part in my life? A change of environment, moving to a sunny state or a sunny place on vacation. Okay, I'm very aware, and this is also something I learned on my own and then was happy to see Peterson talk about it. You're right. The environment's very important on you. And even the things you're not looking at directly, what's in your subconscious field of vision. So I have created in many ways a psychological and magical bubble around the farm I live on. And this is my environment, and I'm working very hard to improve it. I'm working hard to clean my room. I'm low in self-consciousness, a hoarder. So it's been years of trying to get moved into this place and it organized properly. But I'm trying to optimize my internal and my environment here within my bubble to the best of my ability. Now, as far as what you've said about a climate change, I've wondered about that. Is living in Canada making it? But the thing is, I think I'm bipolar for sure. And so I'm going to go through an up and down phase. I worry that if I go to too warm a climate, I can stay manic too long. And with the manic cycle, it's the higher you rise in your mania and the longer you're up there, the deeper the depression crash is and the longer it goes. So it's not about fighting the depression when you're in that cycle. You got to ride out the depression once you're in it. It's about trying to hold yourself back from going too high, too far while manic. If you can get your manic cycle more under control, the next depression is easier. And I do wonder if being in this environment, if I need to go through a cycle of up and down, I find it works very well in Canada with once it matches up with the seasons. If I need to be depressed for a period, winter's the easiest time to be depressed. It's really hard to be depressed in summer weather. And I also wonder if the summer lasted too long here, would it be harder for me to keep my mania under control? But I don't know. Who knows? Maybe someday I should experiment with that. Hey, wow, thanks, Dean. I'm glad weed's good for you too. And also, I don't promote weed like good for everyone. It's the same way with psychiatric drugs. Hey, if they work for you, man, use them. If they don't, or you have a moral problem with the drug companies, don't. If weed works for you, use it. If you don't like it, if it doesn't work for you, don't. But yeah, I'm glad it works well for you. I will try to check out your NASA video if I get around to it. I'm pretty busy with a lot of stuff. An ounce a day, whoosh, bro. Yeah. And even in my younger years, I think the most I ever smoked, like by myself in a day, was 2 ounces. But that was back in like my college years. Now I smoke weed on a regular basis, but much smaller amounts. Okay, so I should express my neuroticism through creativity. I've considered that. Like I said, I had lots of creative potential that I never worked hard on. After getting into magic more, I started coming to certain ideas that then I found Alan Moore had also come to. And I've considered expressing it through creativity, but I realize now the power of art. Art is incredibly powerful. And I don't know if I'm ready yet to use that power. What if I create a powerful piece of art that expresses something that is not good for the average person who's going to see it? But possibly, I'm open to expanding into different things in the future. And yeah, possibly music, visual art, or some sort of artistic videos on this channel. I don't know. Might be a good way for me to express things. Although, if it was good for me but bad for the audience, I wouldn't want to do it. I fucked up enough things over my life. I would rather do no harm from this point forward and see if I can find a couple ways of doing good. Okay, so the archangel's voice shows it himself clearly. Yes, and at different levels, he was much more spoke more loudly initially. He likes to settle in the background and be more subtle now. And there are times where I can't quite tell if I'm talking to him or the deeper part of myself. Or if it's just sort of there's a connection between me and him. But the advice is always good. It's always forgive them, do better yourself, be honest, don't kill yourself. This one particular archangel, told me to reach out to Andrew, and Andrew said he found it helpful. Usually, if I do something, the archangel, either usually or always, if I do something the archangel asks me to do, and it's something involving someone else, they are always glad I've done it, or almost always. And everything else, I've been listening to him since 2011. Although I could also talk to him as a her. And it's like I went from where everyone was really worried about whether I would be able to stop being in a mental institute every manic episode to I stabilized enough that I knew I could just be okay left on my own, to ending up with a wife and kids, to helping out Andrew and Ryan. And there's a few other people, like privately, that I've helped them through difficult situations. Now it's led to me here talking to you. So, yeah. So if it was horrible advice that led to this going on, then that's the first one that I found. But if this is good for any of you guys, then the archangel's advice was good. Am I religious? I was raised Catholic. I'm still, I suppose, religious, but sort of the way William Blake? Anyway, someone said that for a certain type of person, you have to make your own religion. I'm mystic, perhaps. But yeah, I talk to God all the time. And I do have a portion of me that thinks completely rationally, Sam Harris wise. It's like I am full of conflicting things. There's a part of me that is agnostic and only wants to look at scientific fact. There's a large part of me that definitely believes in God. And I understand why Peterson doesn't like the question, do you believe in God? And I understand why he answers it that way, because I had found my answer to be something sort of similar. Instead of saying, I don't want to answer that, I would say yes, but I don't know what God is. I am figuring that out. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully that explains enough about that. Okay, NASA is a front for Zeitgeist. I don't know too much about that at the moment. Let's see here. Why isn't that? Okay. 100% write music, bro. Do a painting, anything. This might sound crazy, but I think you and others may be amazed and pleased with the results. Okay, Dean, I'm gonna remember you said that and think about it. I don't know if I'm ready yet. I'm aware of the power of art. It's way the fuck more magical than people think. Yeah, and maybe I can do a video about that sometime, use some clips from Alan Moore, and discuss it. I'm afraid of misusing creative talent, insanity, and magic. I'd like to do it carefully and do no harm with it, but it's definitely something I may pursue. Okay, so all the drugs is bad for you. You need to get out, go to the gym, or go for long walks. When I'm able to, when I'm in a depression, I can't do the gym, the long walks. In the summer, I get lots of exercise often. I totally respect that you think all the drugs are bad for me, and you could be right. But at the moment, I smoke marijuana, cigarettes, and coffee. That's the limit of my drugs. Melatonin and my sleeping pills, Restoril. I don't drink at all. If the drugs are bad for me, then that's a mistake I'll live with, that I'm living with the consequences with. But I did find, because like I said, I went off them for over a year twice since I was bipolar, and for shorter times. And my psychiatrist, psychologist, family remarked, when I'm off it, I get worse. I can handle life more this way. And maybe it's a shitty crutch, but I'm a fucked up, broken person doing the best I can. I'm working on a lot, and I can't handle altering my biological chemistry at the moment. For the past 2 years, yeah, that was when I stopped taking the mood stabilizer. For the past 2 years, I've been medicating this exact way. And my family, the few friends I have, myself, and my psychologists and psychiatrists all feel I'm making better progress over these 2 years than seemed realistic. So it seems to be working at the moment, but you could be absolutely right. Also, I'm not suggesting that works for other people. I'm fucked up enough that what works for me may not work for anyone else in the world. Have I tried the ketogenic diet? No. And so this is just I'm going to be honest with you about. I eat like fucking garbage. And just I can't I have real issues with food. Don't enjoy eating. When I'm depressed, I don't want to eat and I just want to die, and eating's a burden. And when I'm manic, I don't want to eat because it's like fasting just lifts you. And yeah, it's really hard to get myself to eat. But I have to set minimums of what I eat, no matter how depressed I am, or especially when I'm manic. Because the two big things for when you're getting manic are, no matter what, make sure you get as much sleep as you can. If you're getting below 6 hours a night every night, and then it goes down to 5, like, deal with that at that point. Don't sleep less if you're manic. The other is eat every fucking day. Set yourself a minimum to eat. And for me, I don't worry about the what I eat at the moment. Just I eat enough to keep me grounded. I'm aware eating healthier would be better for me, but it's not something I can only handle changing, working on so many things at once. And my garbage eating routine is comfortable. But don't worry. Also, my wife is always ready to push me towards healthier eating when I'm ready. And every now and then she gets me doing it for a while. Am I a Christian? Okay, so I was raised Catholic. I was an altar boy. I went to World Youth Day and saw the Pope. Am I still a Catholic? Okay, am I still a Christian? I love Jesus. Like the shit Jesus said, I'm 100% down with. I talk to Jesus as well as my angels. Love the Virgin Mary, love Mary Magdalene, love so many parts of Christianity. The thing is, I've also looked into other traditions, and I'm essentially very mystic. I'm taking a direct connection to God. And actually, I found, rather than trying to define God so much, I decided that I was going to look for what God is. And I'm looking for what God is more openly minded than what some people would call Christian. So perhaps part of me is still Christian, or Christianity is a part of me, but I've gone beyond that quite a bit. And yeah, certain Christians would consider me a heretic or a pagan at this point. But yeah, I love Jesus. Everything he says is awesome. Have any entity has come to you, revealed to you, you cannot deny it, they won't like it? Okay, what I have found is that the kind of entity that doesn't want to be questioned are also the kinds of entities that weren't necessarily always giving me good advice. I find that Jesus, Saint Michael, my archangel, my guides and guardians are very respectful that I want to look at things from as many angles as possible, and that I'm open-minded as to what an angel is. Like, I'm not certain what my angel is. It could be a portion of my psychology. It could be real. When I discussed that with my angel, he liked that. It's great. We'll proceed from there. Although, if I'm doing a ritual, if I'm doing magic, I unlock the full belief aspect while talking to them. Although, no, sometimes even if I get a doubt, I will say it to the angel. And my angels do not get upset with that. They encourage me to look at it from multiple perspectives and make up my own mind. They're not asking me to trust them, and they're not trying to censor getting information from anywhere else. Our society is manufactured in a way that unless you're a sociopathic, egotistical, greedy person, you'll never make it up the corporate ladder. Traditionally, many people are in your position. You're not alone. Yeah, I could believe a lot of that, but I don't know how many people are in my position. Like, I'm legitimately crazy, and I don't know how many people like never leave their house. I occasionally leave my house, but I don't go get my own groceries. I don't go out in public more than a couple times a year. Like sometimes I'll really force myself. It'll take me like 2 weeks to build up to it. But like when the county fair came, it's like I would build up to it. It would take a lot of energy, and I'd go to the fair for a day or two with my kids, but that just kicks the shit out of me, and then I got to spend 2 weeks recovering from it. So I very, very rarely leave my house. And yeah, me and my family live. My wife has a house right near here. She's the primary caregiver. I only spend time with my kids when I'm in an okay state. Um, so it's almost like imagine a family that have separated, and like the kids spend certain nights at dad's house and certain nights at mom's house. It's like that, except we're still married, and certain nights she comes and stays over too. So it's sort of a weird family dynamic, but it's what works for us. Um, so I don't know. I how many people are in a situation quite like mine, but if you mean just more generally, how many people don't have a place in society that works well for them? Yeah, like I definitely believe that's true. Okay, so someone, sorry, this is really small. Alan something? Dude, you're very articulated. How did you get to this level of verbal fluency without talking to people? Do you write and read a lot? Okay, so when I went off into isolation, well, first of all, I was always smart. When I was a little kid, like kindergarten, grade one, two, three, four, every year they were trying to advance me a grade. And every year I was like, oh, fuck that. I don't want to go up a grade. And like for me, it was like right now, school's easy. I barely have to pay attention. And then I can run off and read comic books and play with toys. Why would I want to go up a level and have all this hard homework? So I always dodged that, possibly a mistake. But anyway, I was always smart enough. But I wasn't this way before. I wasn't as self aware, as philosophical. And yeah, one thing I found Peterson said uh, that didn't vibe with me was when he said, no one can go off and out in isolation. You go crazy. You can't think by yourself. You need to talk to think. Although Peterson very much does say there's an exception to every rule. So I'm the exception to that rule. When I'm not doing well, like if I'm really struggling, all I need is to be left alone. I can sort it out on my own. Too many people trying to help me makes it worse. So I found when I went into extreme isolation for a couple years, I read a lot. Yeah. Um, I didn't write at all. No writing whatsoever. But I've found I could just sit and think. And I think the most clearly when I'm alone. Um, like what he said, I think Peterson described it that it's hard to think because you have to create two almost sub personalities of differing opinions to conflict with each other. And just that's what helps me get my bipolar under control. I've got so many things in there with their own desires and opinions, and I need time to sit and let these various parts of me talk to myself. And like when I came across Sam Harris's ideas on free will, I was blown away because I came to that conclusion in isolation. And it took me a couple of years, and it hurt to think about it because I didn't want, like, yeah, restructuring to accept that belief was painful, took a long time, but it was entirely by sitting and thinking to myself. I can think to myself in a way where it's two parts talking to each other. That just comes really naturally. So what you're getting out of this is I have done a lot of reading, although most of that's fiction. I mean, I read some nonfiction, but I've read just a ton of fiction, love science fiction, horror, and love comic books. But no, this is from spending an immense amount of time alone. I remember after I got used to being alone, I felt this awesome freedom where it was like, especially when I still had no internet, no phone, nobody ever was stopping by. So it's like, go for weeks without seeing a person, like, because you can't see any of the neighbors, without hearing a voice, without getting a text. And it's like, I could just think about something all day. And then I'd go to bed, and like busy people, you wake up in the morning and your first thoughts are, what do I have to do for the day? Instead, for me, it's like I would wake up in the morning and I'd think, okay, what was it I was thinking about yesterday? And it would come back to me, free will or, this or that. And I was just like, just so excited to jump back in and keep thinking about something that I'd been thinking about for 2 days straight. So it's a result of that extreme isolation and, like not talking to myself out loud, but having conversations with myself in my head. Okay. All right, Robert, I'm training to become a therapist, and this type of video are very helpful. I hope sharing your ideas and feelings helps you too. Okay, thanks for that feedback. Stick around then, and I'll do more of this. Or, Ryan's going to be putting out a video soon about how people submit to have conversations with me. Maybe message Ryan through the email, and maybe we could have a discussion if you're studying to be a therapist and you want to have a conversation with me. Or, if you don't feel like doing that, just that again in a while. And I'd be happy to come on and do this again if people are finding it helpful. Okay, Christian bro, following Christ, right? You love Jesus. Why not? I love Jesus. And his statement, there's no way to the Father through me. I don't take that the way most Christians do. To me, if Christ, whatever Christ is, whether he existed or not, if Christ has become one with the Godhead, then yes, there's no way to the Godhead except through Christ. But I don't think that means you would even need to have ever heard of Christ. Just he's one with God, so to connect to God, you will be connecting to him. But I do think that Christianity can be compatible with other religious practices as well. Okay, Lloyd, God's sake, man, you're a mess. That is the point of me. I'm bipolar. For me, success is that I haven't been in a mental institution in 9 years and that I've never killed myself. But I'm making the most of being a mess. And perhaps some of the things that I've found useful to be a mess, but not the worst mess I could be, might help other people. Who are struggling to stay out of mental institutions. Although also, I'm not just here to talk to people at the bottom who are completely insane. I've had a number of people that are very functional and have that you wouldn't call mentally ill, have certain depression or a bit of anxiety, but some perfectly normal people find it helpful talking to me about their problems. Sometimes it's just nice to get a very different idea, an outside perspective, and there's not much more of an outside perspective than talking to a lunatic. Am I suffering depression? Yeah, at the moment I'm feeling depressed. Sorry, I think I'm missing some of these, but okay, do I take medications? Yeah. I've been on a number of antipsychotics, antidepressants, mood stabilizers. I'm not on anything at the moment for the past 2 years. The only prescription I fill is for Restoril, a sleeping pill that I just use occasionally when I need to. But if psychiatric medications helping somebody else, I don't look down at that at all. Apparently, it helps a lot of people, but there's a certain percentage of people they just don't help and have side effects. I think I'm in that unfortunate group where drugs aren't as useful as they are for some of the others. Swamp Thing likes my beer. Oh, fuck. I like your name, Swamp Thing. Uh, yeah, I fucking love Swamp Thing. Yeah, this beard isn't a fashion choice. It's just once winter hits, I get lazy and don't feel like shaving. Plus, it's cold. I'm in Canada. So the beard is warm and I just don't have to shave. So I just end up growing a big beard every winter. And then as soon as it get warm in the spring and it's too hot and I've got more of my summer up energy, I usually just shave my head once a week, shave my beard and head. I like the nice cool feeling in the summer. Or some summers when my wife and kids want me to have a mohawk, I'll have a mohawk. But yeah, just left to my own, I shave my head in the summer just every so often and then just let it grow all winter because I'm fucking lazy and it's cold anyway. How do I have the confidence to do this in a live stream? Do I have any advice? Fuck, I don't know. I wasn't thinking of this as confidence. I don't know. Ask me that some other time. I wasn't feeling confident. I'm not viewing it that way. And yeah, I might just be too depressed or in the wrong headspace to give advice on that. But try asking me again another time. About Alex Jones. I started watching Alex Jones and Joe Rogan podcast, but it was starting like cut way in. And I couldn't just stop thinking about why are they talking to each other? Weren't they just at war? And so I couldn't concentrate on what they're trying to say because whatever reconciliation there was cut out. So no, I just watched a little bit of it, but not anything else. What do I think my IQ is? Over 130? I don't know. I haven't taken an IQ test, but let's see. They were always trying to move me up a grade. In grade 10, I took advanced mathematics, and for the grade 10 advanced math course in the province I was in, your final mark was just your final exam. That was your whole mark. And when I found that out, I didn't hand in, like I would just do enough of the questions on a piece of homework that I knew I understood it, and I wouldn't fill in anything else. I didn't pay that much attention. Like in class, I would listen until I knew I understood the lesson, and then I would just put on headphones, start reading. And the math teacher would let me do that because she knew I was caught up enough. At the end of the year, and in this province, it's everybody in the whole province has the same final exam. And I was the only person in the province of Quebec to score 100% on that. So my grade 10 math mark was 100%. So I don't know what that relates to as what my IQ is, but it's got to be fairly high. And I mean, at one point I was a security guard for a while. And when I took the security guard entry test, it was a school that had been around for quite a while, like doing the training. They said I was the only person who ever scored 100 on that test. And yeah, I get it. Like, it's not high-end intellects often going for security, but just from some objective testing, I can see I'm in a higher IQ range, but I don't know exactly what it is. One thing I did think about doing with this channel, because Andrew had established such a Peterson theme, was I considered doing the Understand Myself that Peterson has. I think it's an IQ test and the Big Five personality. So if I ever get around to doing it, I might do his IQ test and the Big Five. And if I do, I'll come on and share it with you guys, both as a review of what his Understand Myself is like. Is it worth doing? But also, if I give you guys the results of my personality test, you will understand what my natural biases are. And that way you can correct when it comes to my advice. So I'm totally open to sharing that if I get around to doing it. Oh, okay. Do I know how to set up stream properly? Like, fuck no. I barely know how to use my computer. My wife, when I needed this computer, I told my brother-in-law, just get me a computer that will do. He picked it for me. My wife sets everything up for me. Ryan's running this channel. Today, he taught me how to just log in as sorting myself out. And I was just sitting here late at night, and I thought, fuck, I wonder if I can figure out how to go live. And I just played around with it a bit and managed to get on live. But no, I don't fucking know what I'm doing with computers at all. I haven't used social media in a long time. I'm out of touch with mainstream society, and I am not technically proficient whatsoever. Okay, Tommy, I'm a skiddo that's curing myself naturally. Are you saying you're schizophrenic? Working on dealing with it naturally? Well, yeah, if you're schizophrenic and working on dealing with it on your own, again, maybe we could talk sometime. You could email the channel and Ryan will talk to you. But I've had a number of schizophrenic friends. Like, I'm bipolar, but I know a number of schizophrenic people, and I'd happy to talk to you about how you're dealing with it. Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't think it's delayed. I'm just going through the messages way too slow. What was the worst drug I took? Fuck, what was it called? Was it Zyprexa? The first time I got out of the first time I was locked up, and I fucking hate it in a mental institution. From the minute I'm in there, it's hell for me, and I'm just doing anything I can to get out. And finally, after like 10 days, they were like, all right, we will let you out if you take this every day. And I don't remember if it was Zyprexa or not, but whatever the fuck they gave me, it knocked me out for 23 hours a day. I was a total zombie. I would take the fucking pill, and I was staying with my parents at the time. Take the fucking pill, it would just knock me right out. I'd lie down on the bed and put on a movie to try to just watch something and just fall asleep. Next thing I know, my mom's waking me up after 12 hours just telling me to take my next pill or getting me up to eat. But it was like I could barely open my eyes. And when I needed to eat, my mom would have to walk me downstairs from the bedroom, sit me down at the kitchen table and put food in front of me. And I just could barely move to eat. And it was just this blurry, half awake ordeal. and I'd eat as much as I could, and then she'd just take me back upstairs. I'd lay down, put on a movie, just fucking black right out. And I think after my first time out of the mental institution, I was on that for about 6 weeks. So where I was just basically in a coma or this stumbling zombie eating a little bit throughout the day. That was brutal. Okay, so Tommy's saying he's going to help set up my stream. Pass any advice on through Ryan about what I should do better. I'm getting bleary-eyed. It's hard to read all of the comments. Let's see. I haven't done the self-authoring program yet. Me and my wife both got it last year. She started doing it and worked her way through a lot. I never even got around to opening it yet. It's another thing I might do for this channel is go through the self-authoring program so I can discuss what it was like going through it. Okay, so now that there's more people here as well, I rambled so long I forgot. My first reason for coming on was, did anyone here see both versions of the video Ryan edited that he put up today? He tried a funnier version first, and then he put it up with his little movie clips removed from it. Did anyone see those videos today that's here now? I'm getting bleary-eyed, but it looks like someone's saying do it through Ryan, but really want to talk to me. Yeah, and so also one of the reasons Ryan is handling all like the channel officially is this opening up to the world is hard on me. I lived completely in my own world alone for a while. Then I started letting a few people into my world. Talking to Andrew and Ryan and doing those few podcasts was a big step of interacting with the wider world. And this for me is a massive thing, that just doing any content at all is pushing myself really far. So I can't deal with too much. So I'm sort of going to hide behind Ryan for a lot of this. Any emails coming in, anyone who does want to talk to me for whatever reason, I can handle this better if it's arranged through Ryan. He sets it all up, and then he gives me an idea of who wants to talk to me about what and sets up the call for me. And then all I have to do is show up, be present, forget everything else in the world, give you my total attention, and see what we can do to revive the art of conversation that's actually beneficial to both parties involved. I've played with tarot cards just a little. And yeah, I do big rituals of my own. Just right now, I don't want to get into too many details about that. I just want to think about how much I share. For me, like the actual rituals are a very private thing. I'll think about how much I want to share, but I'm definitely going to be willing to talk somewhat. Okay, and you know what? Like, fuck, you guys have all been really nice. Hey, wait, is that Andrew? Yeah. Hey, Andrew, how you doing? Okay, so yeah, one person just said, I don't think a lot of people have seen the videos. Don't worry too much about the negative feedback. Yeah, that's what I was wondering. 'Cause I'm very depressed. Negative comments hit me hard, but also like it really hurt. It really hurt Ryan's feelings. He worked so fucking hard on that. And yeah, so I just wanted to know what people thought about that. And even though we didn't end up talking about that much, just this interaction, all of these comments have been fucking like useful. This was a nice conversation with you guys. I don't, unless I missed it, I don't see any troll come on here. And all my bad feelings left over from the negative reactions in the comment section are gone, not because of advice specifically on that, but because talking to you guys has been really fucking nice. Like, yeah, if this is the audience on here, fuck, maybe I can do this kind of shit every now and then. Yeah, and let's see what it's 4:30 in the morning here now, and I should probably start trying to calm down and to get this whole thing off my mind so I can get some sleep tonight. So sorry for all the comments I didn't respond to. Um, yeah, and there's some coming up that I don't know if I'll even read. But when I first came on, I was sure I was just going to talk to a few people and then delete it right away. But this might have gone well. And I think I'm going to leave this up overnight so that Ryan can see it tomorrow. Yeah, my eyes are getting blurry. I can't read the new comments anymore. So I'm going to cut out now. And I don't know. I think I just hit end stream. And then I don't know if that leaves it posted automatically or not. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But I'm going to hit end stream now. Wish everybody a good night. And yeah, I might pull this down tomorrow or I might not. I have no fucking idea. Yeah, sorry. I see people are still commenting. That's awesome. Just, I took sleeping pills a while ago. My eyes are really blurry and I can't keep up with it. So, fucking, yeah. Thanks to you guys for being really supportive. That was really nice. Yeah, maybe this isn't worth leaving up or anything, but looks like it was worth doing. And if there's a group of you guys out there that want me to pop on now and then late at night when I feel like rambling, yeah, that's definitely something I can do. So thanks a lot. Love all you guys lots. Hope everyone got something good out of this. And hope everybody gets a great night's sleep and wakes up to a wonderful morning tomorrow.